Hey, what's up everybody? My name is Marco. I'm a former professional opera singer and I love talking about video game music from an emotional perspective after a decade plus on the stage. I have become hopelessly addicted actually to Guilty Gear Strive. At this point, I've listened to quite a bit of the character themes from Guilty Gear Strive, but I have to say, I've recently started working on being a better player and I've been playing the crap out of this game with Slayer, the best character in Guilty Gear Strive. And yes, you are wrong if you disagree with me. Today we're checking out Guilty Gear Strive. I actually got destroyed by a Robo-Ky recently, though I did not actually hear their theme because I was on the opposite side. So we were playing Slayer's theme, ups and downs, the best Guilty Gear theme. Just kidding. It's good. It's really good. But anyway, I don't know if we're gonna hear all the lyrics and stuff here. I don't know what we're cooking with, but let's dive in. So that's kind of funny. I actually think that the beginning here is really interesting because obviously Robo-Ky is a robo version of Ky-Kisk. I don't know why there's a Robo-Ky. I don't know why Robo-Ky exists, and we will find out during this video. But what I find kind of interesting is that we actually get that synthetic kind of sound right away. If you listen and go back, right there, it's in between the guitar, it's at the upper register. That little noodling there, that's that robotic quality, which I think is kind of a fun little gesture. I know 2 pauses in the first 30 seconds. What the hell is he doing? But the reason why I'm going to pause here is to simply say that it's amazing how you automatically hear Robo-Ky's no bullshit, smarmy, kind of like an asshole perspective. He's very, very, very rough and tumble around the edges. He does not give a shit about anything. He's kind of aggressive and he's really, 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 really in the hands of a good player, incredibly volatile to be around. He can really trip you up and really lock you in. And I hate him based on my limited experience fighting against him. Just so many different kinds of weapons and tools and accessories to use to make your life a living hell. And that is definitely something that is very apparent even in the first half of this theme with this right. So it's a very intense introduction. So I'm not going to pause too much here. Okay, we're getting to something interesting there. That is crazy. It is a Guilty Gear ass song, that's for sure. Cast iron in the mirror. Cast iron being Robo-Ky in the mirror looking at himself. I know the grace in those sentimental lines. Don't know what that means. But I'll never ask, who are you? Ears to hear sighs, eyes gaze the moon, arms crushed to pieces, brain to harbor thoughts, legs for what else, heart burning up. No spare parts in this world. I'm the finest grade of solitude. And that's interesting. So at first it kind of feels like a Frankenstein's monster sort of scenario where basically these are all the parts of Robo-Ky that make Robo-Ky functional, right? And the things that every human has: ears, eyes, arms, brains, legs, heart. You know, like these are things that are a part of life essentially. So no spare parts in this world, meaning everything has a purpose. Everything's very specific where it goes. But then it's interesting because then the words say, I'm the finest grade of solitude. As if to say, like, there is no one else in the world like me. I am who I am, and I'm different. even though I have these components that make me a part of the whole. I find that kind of interesting, and also it's kind of aggressive. Well, kind of, it is aggressive. There's a press in this sound. There's an anger and agitation, and I think it maybe stems from that idea of being alone and that idea of loneliness. I don't know, but I find it kind of compelling. Let's keep going. Now we're going to enter into this piano switch thing. I like that. All alone, not built by hate. With my heart, someone's prayer. I may cry, but I'm here. Never lost. This is who I am. You know, and I think it's interesting because why would we have a slowdown like that with a character that is, you know, inhuman and aggressive and violent and sure has a suit on and is, you know, can lift his head up as a helicopter and fly around and throw bombs at you and all this other stuff, like, right? Like theoretically, what's that? And I think that's sentience. I think that's like actual, like even weirdly a degree of sadness, right? Because it slows down, the piano comes in, it's a little warmer in its texture, a little richer. The lyrics say, and I know hard steel forged in hand won't cut just men. Every part of me links to a distant breath. No, I'm not all alone, not built by hate, stitched my heart, someone's prayer. And if I read that, it makes no sense. And I know hard steel forged in hand won't just cut men. It'll cut everybody. Every part of me links to a distant breath. No, I'm not all alone. Not built by hate. Stitched my heart, someone's prayer. I may gripe, but I'm here, never lost. This is who I am. And it's kind of like a modus operandi, right? It's saying, frankly, I can't really wrap my brain around that. It's like, I may be annoying, I may be frustrated, I may be pissy, but I'm never lost and I'm still here because this is who I am. It's a self-admission of acceptance of the self, right? And I okay.
Wait, which way? To the right.
What the fuck? Random ass waltz. What? Okay.
Wrong turn.
Yeah. So I think ultimately, and again, you hear it with this who, all that aggression. I think is really at the end of the day, like, bro, like this is who I am. This was the card I was dealt, and it's kind of this weird acceptance of like all the circumstances. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to be able to change this, so I might as well just go out with it and just deal with it. You know what I mean? I got ears, I got a nose, I got a mouth, I got arms, I got legs, and I got a heart. Deal with it. There's an anger in it, and there's like it's a weird acceptance because it's acceptance, but it's also like, you know, go fuck yourself at the same time, which I think is kind of interesting because it's not, I may gripe, but I'm here. Never lost. This is who I am. Right. And that's kind of the crux of this, I think. It's like, yeah, deal with it. And that's all robotics. That is so uncomfortable to listen to. The specific kind of crunch that creates with the chords, that the notes that are being sung, it really sounds robotic. It really sounds otherworldly. You know, if you compare it to, well, Ups and Downs as a prime example, I was joking earlier about how Slayer's theme is my favorite, right? Totally different energy, totally different kind of characterization, right? And lyrics don't necessarily have to make sense for us to feel that, but I think it's kind of interesting. And I say that every time I stop because all of it's kind of interesting. Goes up, okay, going up. That's really fun. All alone, not built by hate. My heart, someone's prayer. But I'm here. This is who I am. Do you see the admission of acceptance there? This is who I am. Going up like that in the pitch, that's the acceptance. This is who I am, right? Like that's the part that's, and honestly, and I know hard steel forged in hand won't cut just men. Every part of me links to a distant breath. No, I'm not all alone, not built by hate, right? Like that's all. Like I really think like ultimately at the end of the day, like Robo-Ky is kind of like, man, I got dealt kind of a bad hand, and it's just all about processing that self aspect. You know, before I finish the song though, I want to go over to this website, the fandom.com. Robo-Ky is the name used by many robotic copies of Kykisk, thus referring to several characters in the Guilty Gear series. The first original model of Robo-Ky appears in Guilty Gear X+. This imitation series army was created by the Post-War Administration Bureau, who deploys them against anyone they consider a threat or an asset to their goals. As of Guilty Gear Strive, there are two Robo-Kys. One serves as Venom's assistant character, and another as a standalone playable character who completely differentiates from the original Kykisk. The original Robo-Ky from X Plus was shown to have a grudge against the normal Ky, stating that defeating the original was the reason for its existence. Man, this reminds me of Kingdom Hearts. For rather persistent, his slouching stance and crawl seem to hint at a number of bugs. Later units, such as the one a Core Plus, also believe that proving their superiority to the original is a matter of identity and pride. In Double X, the many Robo-Kys begin to show slight defects in their personality, turning into self-centered, egotistical robots that see humans as inferior creatures, even as they demonstrate extremely human behavior. They claim to be loyal to the Post-War Administration Bureau while mocking and looking down upon the other characters and proving to them the might, order, and superiority of the PWAB. As of Reload, in its gameplay and its battle quotes, Robo-Ky gains somewhat of a more comical personality, which is expanded upon and canonized in A Core Plus. Inui is etched onto his belt, which suggests he may be acting out of boredom. More pronounced personality, weirdness, perverted, womanizing, sleazy, and abrasive. For all intents and purposes, they've become rather defective models. He is both an archaic model and a fake, meaning he's not registered and on the brink of being outdated by his superiors, trying to scrap him as soon as possible. The last remaining Robo-Ky unit, Xrd, differs greatly from prior iterations. While loudmouthed and petty, as before, along with being somewhat in the slums, he has nonetheless gained much insight and newfound ideals that make him radically different from his peers, despite some comical traits still being prevalent. He's able to see through Bedman's wicked farce while stating that despite so many complicated ideologies people don't need, they can still connect, while also expressing a sense of gratefulness to society, and is shown to encourage Venom to care more about himself. He's somewhat of a romanticist, firmly believing in the importance of dreams and having one of his own, due to being influenced by one person's dream to build a tangerine farm at one point in his lifetime. By the time of Strive, his sense of self-presentation and his ego have not dulled one bit, as well as still being perverse to desire a woman, where ironically his original had already been married. He even makes use of a love translator to simply overcoat female fighters' words towards him with implications of romance and marriage. The robot still also has personal gripes towards the original Ky, as per his sense of self, albeit the said original no longer is willing to humor such a rivalry, while also having newfound respect for the robot. When it comes to the robot, maintained importance of acceptance differs, however. Robo-Ky puts aside his ego in order to convey the dying wish of Bedman to his sister. And so it's interesting because there is that sort of like acceptance, and this song feels like it's more correlated to this last remaining Robo-Ky unit. There's a sense of responsibility, or at the very least like embracing of the self, right? And that's the theme that I think is present pretty strongly here.
Turn to the left.
And I think what the fuck?
No, the other way. Okay, I don't hate it.
That is crazy. That's fun, man. Excellent bass work back there, too. Don't you feel like in a lot of ways like this song really like lives and plays by its own rules, and so there's no structure. I mean, it's kind of all over the place. The structure, yes, but what I mean to say is that like it's all a mixture of instruments and thought, and I feel like it's just like this history of Robo-Ky coming forward, and it's just like it doesn't know what it wants to be, because this whole thing is, I don't know, it's fascinating, isn't it? It's a fascinating character study musically because there's so much variation. It's not perfectly clear what the actual goals of all this are, because a lot of it is just like going for it and free falling and being like, oops, I shouldn't have done it that way, let me try this way. And in fact, I think that that's represented in the music when that little breakdown, you know, the break where he says this time to the left, whole new concept of music. No, the other way, a whole new concept of music. Okay, I don't hate it. This dude is just trying to figure it out. You know, he's just going from place to place to place. Like, who am I? What is my purpose? I'm a bit of a lech, but also, you know, life is beautiful and I'm glad I'm alive. But also, like, you know, I want to be with somebody. It's very interesting. Like, listen to this. I mean, like, that's. And then it like snaps out of it. It's like, ugh, never mind. You know? Bargain hand won't adjust, man. Yeah, I'm going to pause one more time and just say that I actually think that this chorus is actually talking about every part of me links to a distant breath. Who's the distant breath? The original Ky Keys, probably. No, I'm not all alone. Not built by hate. You're not alone because there's literally a bunch of other copies. I don't know how many at this point. Not built by hate. Stitch my heart, someone's prayer. So basically, like, I think that stitch my heart, someone's prayer is if to say, like, I hope someone's thinking of me and is praying to be with me, and they're healing my, you know, my shell of what I would hope to be as a human. You know what I mean? Talking about the damn scientist. Tangerine Fields referenced. Whoa, interesting dissonance. Never lost, this is who I am. You know, it's crazy. You know, as I've started to listen to more of the older Guilty Gear stuff, I can see why people wouldn't necessarily like Guilty Gear Strive's music, especially when the other Guilty Gear or Guilty Gear Xrd, is that how you pronounce it? You pronounce it some other way. Those are a little bit more grounded. These themes tend to be all fairly experimental, and I think that that's positive because it's frankly pretty interesting. I can see why people don't like it though. I think that's so much fun. And I think like it's great, and Guilty Gear is such a great game, and I'm really, really happy that I've been diving into it and playing more of it. And if you want to challenge me at Guilty Gear Strive, let me know in the comments below. Maybe it's time for another Guilty Gear Strive stream so that I can kick all of your asses. Thanks a ton, everybody. See you later. Feel free to like and feel free to subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon.